Okay, in this video, we're going to be covering how to never go to spam ever again. So if you or anyone in your company sends emails to cold prospects in hopes of getting more clients, more customers, more sales, this video is absolutely essential for you. As you know, probably or hopefully, Google did make some updates onto cold email. It was a little bit of fear mongering. There wasn't, that much to do with it, but there still is a lot of stuff that you absolutely need to be aware of if you are sending cold emails. So that's exactly what we're going to be covering in this video. Let's get straight into it. So basically going into 2024 and beyond without a plan to navigate Google's deliverability guidelines, Outlook's deliverability guidelines, etc., is not super smart. It's basically the same as flying through space-time using a compass, aka you're screwed, because outbound sales has dramatically changed in not only the last 6 to 12 months, but the last couple of years as well, and even the last few months alone. So especially after Google crackdown, etc., not to mention the amount of people that are in the game now. So a couple of years ago, it was pretty difficult to get into cold outbound. You kind of had to be more of an expert. You had to be very deep into the space in order to be really big on it. But now with things like Instantly AI, etc., people can just send thousands and thousands of emails basically with a very low barrier to entry. So cold email is not going to be the same as it was a few short years ago. People get thousands of emails these days. And if you do send cold emails, you'll know that if you're hitting the spam box over and over, you're just basically wasting your time, let alone with the amount of competition. No one's checking their spam. No one's doing any of these things. No one is looking for your email. So if you're already landing in spam, you're just shooting yourself in the foot before you can even get started, because if no one can see your messages, it doesn't really matter how good your copywriting is, doesn't matter how good your lead list is, doesn't matter how much research you do, how great your product is, you're just never going to have success and get clients or customers over cold email. So whether your goal is to get your first 100 customers, find product market fit, or scale to 100 million in ARR, it's pretty essential that you make sure that you hit the inbox more often than not. 20% open rates are the old way of doing cold email, but even with the crackdowns, we will still hit 75 to 80% open rates on big volume without personalization. So if you include personalization, that's even better. I know some people are really good with the AI stuff. That is not me. Personally, I do no personalization whatsoever, but we still are able to hit 78% open rates, 10 to 20% reply rates, 10 to 20% positive. We also have a little bit of proof from a client CRM here, getting a bunch of leads in a month, 43 meetings booked, 61 interested replies, and 13 interested and 61 requesting more info. So this is just one of my clients. And one of my other clients actually spent months once without being able to get any results on cold email. So pipeline was dry, could never get it to work. He would often see people telling him cold email is a really important acquisition channel, but they never even got close to believing what people would say. All he did was spend a bunch of money on an email list, send some out. Nothing ever happened. Basically never got clients, never really got what people were doing. And it got to the point where he was just about to give up. But basically, he was just banging his head against the wall, trying to get to work, testing scripts, etc., testing lead lists. But when I eventually took a look at it, the campaigns were pretty good. The copy wasn't bad. The leads were solid. But the reason he wasn't getting any results is because he was just going to spam. So it basically just demonstrates you can have the best offer, the best copy, the best everything. It doesn't matter. If you don't go to the inbox, you are absolutely screwed. I want to absolutely stress this is integral information. Elon Musk himself could have been sending these cold emails, but nobody would have replied because nobody even saw them. If there was a single thing that would guarantee that no sales rep would ever stay with my company and that we would never get results on cold outbound, it would be that my deliverability was shot and no one was getting my emails. So when the deliverability was broken, nothing else mattered. It's basically like that saying that people say when they're sick. A healthy man wants 1,000 things, but a sick man only wants one. So when deliverability is fine, you can focus on copy, lead list, all the other things, etc. It doesn't matter. You want all these things. You're trying to optimize everything. But then as soon as your deliverability goes down, you're screwed and nothing else matters except the deliverability. It's a very important part of it. And the worst thing is that you can spend months trying to figure out if it's your offer, your value proposition. Maybe you're not in product market fit. Maybe your customers don't want your product as much as you thought they might. Maybe you're doing everything wrong and your business just shouldn't exist. Maybe you're thinking all this stuff, but in reality, it's just that your deliverability is off and no one's receiving your stuff. So it's not a problem with the offer. It's just the deliverability. Sometimes it is the offer. Sometimes it's not. But after this video, you're basically going to be able to avoid every single false negative from struggling deliverability, which is, it's kind of like if you're getting rejected by girls because you think you're really bad at talking to them, but in reality, you just have bad breath. So ideally, once you fix your bad breath, you should be all good, allegedly. So anyway, Basically, what we have now is a bulletproof deliverability process. So you never get another false negative and you make sure all your stuff lands in the primary inbox. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one is the baseline paradigm for success. So first things first, the best place to start here is a bit of inversion thinking, which I learned from Alex Hormozy, who he learned it from the late, great Charlie Munger. Basically what it means is you're basically looking at how to get the opposite outcome than the one you want, which works really well because as human beings, it's a lot easier to identify threats than it is to identify positive actions because it's just how we're kind of wired. We're wired for survival. So we're really better at identifying, hey, that's bad, don't do that, than identifying things to desire. So best place to start to make sure we land in the spam inbox would be, we would want to be super salesy. We'd want to follow up 1 million times per day. We'd want to send all of our emails from one account, and we'd want to not listen when people said no. We'd want to make sure not to give them a way to stop receiving the emails. We'd want to make sure that the email address has a terrible reputation. I would want to try my best to get people to report me. I'd want to not volunteer any information to the sending platforms like Google. And I would want to use a bad list of old emails that have zero potential intent to buy my stuff. So what you can also do here specifically is think about what the email sending platforms don't want, because at the end of the day, the people controlling whether we land in spam or not, for the most part, are the email sending platforms, because those are the people that are going to control the user experience essentially. So the things that the email sending platforms don't want, is they don't want their users hating email. They don't want people to stop using the platform. They don't want users to complain. They don't want a bad reputation. Google don't want people to hate Gmail. And they don't want their own sending service to have a bad reputation. They don't want bots. They don't want to lose their users. They don't want spammers. And they don't want people to send thousands of emails that are not regular occurring emails. So if you can keep in mind, this in everything, like everything you do with your emails should be keeping this stuff in mind, because this is going to be essentially informing every single action that you take when it comes to deliverability. So knowing that, there must be a few simple principles behind every single action you make, and making sure that you're putting yourself in line with the people controlling the spam. So what that means is that you must act like a human. So Google don't like bots and automation. So the more you can mimic human behavior, the more you're going to land in the primary inbox. Number two, avoid things that are negative for the user experience of email. So for example, sending thousands or even hundreds of emails per day creates a bad user experience and a clogged inbox. So Google and Outlook want users to enjoy the platform. And then number three, avoid sending the same message copy pasted over and over, because the more similar the email is, the more likely it is spam. So it's worse for deliverability, and it suggests you are using an automation tool. So every single action we take should be to show the sending platforms, hey, we are not spammers, we're friendly. Can you please put us in the inbox? Good sir, please. That's what you should be saying. So if we can achieve that, emails will be good to go, and we can get straight to getting clients, straight to getting customers immediately. So the first part of that is diversify your setup. So when I said don't send thousands of emails per day, you might have thought, Leo, how do you claim to send so many emails, but then tell me not to send thousands per day? Well, the key is here that you can send thousands per day, but you need to use different email addresses. So it might sound like a hassle, but here's what it looks like. You can buy 50 to 100 domains that are separate from your main domain. So for example, try softwareonsolutions.com, get softwareonsolutions.com, etc., etc. Then what you can do is you can split these up. So you have 50 to 100x domains, and you can get 2 inboxes per domain. You can see it here in the little graphic. The note here is that the reason you need to be different from your main domain is that if you send too many emails from your primary company domain, your entire company's emails will end up in spam and you will burn the main domain. This has happened to a few people I know, and it has always led to lost deals, trouble communicating inside and outside the company, etc., because all of their emails just go to spam. The key here is that you can send about 50 emails per day per email account, and you can typically have 2 to 3 email accounts maximum per domain. So that means if you get 50 domains, you can have 100 email accounts, and 50 times 100, meaning 50 emails per 100 email accounts, means 5,000 emails sent per day without overloading one single email address and without burning your main company domain. So what this does is it also diversifies your risk, because if one of these burner accounts gets banned or starts going to spam, it doesn't affect the others, and you can still have essentially this big army of email accounts that can still do your sending even if one of them gets banned. This also prevents you from ever sending too many emails from your primary domain, like I said, so you can avoid frustrations that come from your main company domain being burnt. Also, if any sales reps from your company or even you send cold emails from your primary inboxes, I suggest that you get a system like this in place. You just want to make sure that they are all .com domains because they have the best reputation. So even any sort of cold email, even if it's not automated, I suggest you have them in a Warmup protocol and you have them from a burner domain. You can get these domains from somewhere like GoDaddy, Porkbun, or Namecheap. I don't really like Namecheap because they get banned quite frequently. So let's actually remove that and do GoDaddy and Porkbun. Also, the second thing, or not the second thing, but the next thing is that you don't think that this means you will have to go up and build 50 to 100 websites. All you need to do is select the forwarding in the domain overview, and you can forward them all to the same website, and that makes it really, really easy. Just go to the website section in your domain settings, and then forward it to your main domain. Then what you want to do is, once you buy these domains, you have to set up these codes, so SPF DMark and DKIM. What this does is that prevents your emails from going to spam by basically identifying who you are. It's kind of like a passport, I believe. So remember that these domains are likely brand new, and unless you had 50 age domains, you kind of need a signal to the sending platforms what this is. So for example, if your domain doesn't use SPF, receiving mail servers can't verify that your messages are actually from you. Really, really important. It's basically saying, hey, this is Leo sending this email to the email sending providers. Then without DMark, hackers and other malicious users can impersonate your messages, making them appear to come from you or your organization. So turning off DMark puts your users and contacts at risk for spam, spoofing, and phishing. So having this signals, hey, I'm a good guy, I'm not a bad guy. And then DKIM basically helps receiving email servers verify that messages are actually from the organization. When servers can verify that messages are from your organization, they're much less likely to mark them as spam. So we need all of these things, and we can literally rely on these answers because these are directly from Google. This isn't like from a 16-year-old email guru. This is just from Google. This is what Google say. I'm going to listen to Google. I think they have a better idea of it than me, and they basically directly tell you set these codes up so you can basically bet that if you don't have these codes, you're pretty much shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to landing in the primary inbox. Absolutely essential. I'm not necessarily a tech person, but that's not really an excuse. As a founder of a company, I'm a salesperson. I need to be committed to getting the best results for my team. And basically by setting these up, like I said, you're basically showing Google, hey, here I am. I'm legit. My passport for sending emails. This way, they know that you're not being impersonated. They know you are a safe sender, and therefore you're much more likely to land in the inbox. So what you want to do is, there's different ways to set these up. I have these in this document. So if you want this document, I guess just comment down below and I'll send it to you because this has the links for how to set each of these up. I don't really need to go into this too much in detail because there's guides out there for free already. But yeah, ask me for this document. I'll just send it over to you. In terms of the Warmup protocol, there's a guide here from SmartLead. You can also use Instantly AI. What you need to do is you need to warm your email addresses up for 2 to 3 weeks. The reason for this is because if you have a brand new email address, it's not really usual that a brand new email address would just start sending thousands of emails per day. It's not exactly regular human behavior. So what you want to do is you need to mimic a regular human. So the way the regular human would act, they would start sending a little bit slow and then it would start ramping this up day by day by day. For example, if someone had just joined a new company, they're going to get their email address, they're going to start sending a few emails, they're going to start ramping up a little bit, and then over time they'll send more and more and more. And what we want to do is instead of manually doing this and manually ramping up these emails, we need to enter a warm-up pool like from SmartLead, like from Instantly AI. And what they do is they have all of their users within the platform sending kind of proxy emails between each other. So it appears that all of them are legit regular emails. Not to say it's not legit to have a warm-up pool, but suggesting that they would be regular humans. So that's really important. Then once it's time to start sending the emails, you want to start slow. So start in week 1, sending 5 emails per day per domain. Then week 2, send 10 emails per day per domain. Week 3, 20 emails per day per domain. And then week 4, you can start sending 35 per day per domain. Then the next thing is that you need to have clean lists. So clean lists equals clean deliverability, much like the old saying, happy wife, happy life. Without a great list of data, you can pretty much kiss your chances at success goodbye. So every month, 3 to 5% of the leads on a lead list software like Apollo, something like that, will either leave their company or change their emails on a monthly basis. And if it is a broken email address, it's going to bounce. And if your bounce rate is above 2%, your domains will get burned fast and none of your cold emails will hit the primary inbox. The reason for this is because if you're emailing all of these bad emails, it's really bad for your sending reputation. So you need to make sure that no more than 2% of your cold emails are bouncing because like I said, it will lead to you getting burned pretty fast. I made a guide here on how to do it. Like I said, just ask me for this document and I'll send it to you in the comments. That's pretty easy. That basically covers how to do it, how to clean your emails. Then in terms of what to include in your emails, or more importantly, what not to include, when it comes to copywriting, you need to use a lot of syntax. So for example, including brackets like this means that it will randomly select each of these between emails. And what this does is it will artificially make each of your emails a little bit different. And the higher the percentage of differentiation in your emails, the better. And what it'll allow you to do, it'll randomize. So one email will say 65 with the number, and one email will say 65 with the letters. And it just makes it a little bit different. So all of a sudden, the more of that you have, whether it be in your greeting, in your CTA, in your numbers, in your intros, etc., the better. And it will make all of your emails be appearing to be more different. Obviously, that's a human thing. It's very rare that a human would send the exact same email 50 times, even if there was a few different names. The higher percentage each email is different from the other, the more likely you're going to be landing in the inbox. Again, got some more guides in here directly from these sending platforms, Instantly and Smartly. Ask me for the doc and I'll shoot it over. And the next thing is that you need a good offer. The reason that you need a good offer is because the more likely you are providing something relevant and something good for the prospect, the less likely they are to mark you as spam. So if you offer them something really valuable, like a lead magnet, a sales asset, whatever it is, offer to do something for them for free, it's much less likely that they're going to say, hey, screw you, I'm marking you as spam. That is pretty obvious. If you're doing something nice for them, it's really much less likely that they're going to say, hey, screw you, I hate you. Versus if you're offering, hey, would you like to buy my thing immediately? Would you like to give me $5,000? That's like pretty obviously spammer behavior. So just be a good cold emailer, give them a really good offer. If it is valuable to them, if it is relevant for them, if you are solving a relevant problem for them, they will appreciate you much more than if you're just spamming them. Next thing here is if you can include personalization, this will also help. The reason this will also help is the same reason as syntax. So the more different each of your emails is from the next email, the better it's going to be perceived by the sending platforms, because it is much more likely to be human behavior in their opinion. So next is compliance. There are a few can spam laws that you will need to pay attention to. Number one is an unsubscribe trigger. So include this in your email. You want to include some details about your business as well. Then you want to include no misleading information. So don't be a little spammer. Don't make bold claims that are not real. And then you also want to avoid all of these words. So there's 188 words that you need to avoid. I included a link here that you can find. If you want to just Google this, cool. If you want to ask me, in the comments, I'll just give you the doc. I don't really care. Maybe I'll just link it in the description. I don't know. We'll see. Then the last thing is you want to abide by this before you send checklist. Really, really simple. I just wanted to make this quick and dirty, super actionable. Number one, .com domains only. 2, DKIM, DMark, SPF added to your DNS. 3, emails are warmed up for 15 days. 4, clean list with no bad quality emails. Like I said, bounces are really bad. Then you want to have a good amount of spin tax, so no 2 emails are the exact same. Then you want to have no more than 50 emails per domain per day. Then you want to only send Monday to Friday, maybe human behavior. Turn off open tracking because it hurts deliverability as well, because it includes a little images. It includes a little image in the email to make sure that it shows you when stuff's opened, and that little image reduces deliverability. So turn off open tracking, really important. Next, do not include any images or attachments in your cold email before you reply. So if they reply, that's when you can include an image or an attachment, only when they reply. If you just send out thousands and thousands of images and attachments, that's spammy, so don't do that. Then next, you want to make sure you're not including any links in your initial cold email. Again, before they reply. After they reply, you can obviously include that because you're going to be sending out, number one, lower volume, and number two, when they reply to you, it signals that they're engaging in a conversation, so it's allowed. Then next, you want to put something at the bottom for them to unsubscribe, like stop for unsubscribe. It's important for compliance, really simple. Next, 3 follow-ups maximum, because more than 3 follow-ups, number one, you're not going to get that many replies anyway, even from the 4th or 5th or 6th follow-up. That's because 80% of your positive replies will come from email 1 and 2. And the other thing is that the more you spam someone without responses, the worse it looks. And also, the more likely they're going to mark you as spam. So it's just a whole shit show. Just avoid following up more than 3 times. If it's personalized prospecting and you're prospecting to a specific customer with personalized stuff, that's very different to if you're doing cold email stuff. So just keep that in mind. If you're a sales rep doing personalized stuff, a little bit different. Next, you want to have a great offer that is also relevant, meaning you aren't cold emailing a pet store about how to set up the cold email domains. They probably don't need that. It's probably not solving a relevant problem for them. And then the last thing is just making sure there aren't any spin tax typos in your email. So for example, if your email is formatting as that instead of just 65, then you have a problem. That's going to get you marked as spam because it's really clearly an automation. So hopefully this was valuable for you. It was really just quick and dirty cold email deliverability stuff. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If you want this doc, comment down below and I will send it to you. And yeah, that's all I've got. See you in tomorrow's video.